In a recent video, I showcased my guitar collection, which really is just 2 guitars and 1 bass. But in this video, I'm going to be sharing my newest guitar purchase, which is this 8-string from Harley Benton right here. This is the Harley Benton R458 FFB Roasted MultiScale. This guitar has 2 high-gain humbuckers that are Harley Benton branded. It's got a poplar body, it's got a bolt-on roasted maple neck, and a roasted maple fingerboard. The neck on this guitar is labeled as a Speed D neck on Harley Benton's website, and honestly, I'd say it feels very, very similar to my Ibanez RG7421's neck, which I believe that's a wizard neck. And as someone who really prefers flat, thin necks versus the big, chunky C-shaped ones, I'm really happy with how this neck feels. This is a multi-scale guitar, so the scale length on the low end is 27 inches and on the high end it's 25.5 inches. That is not that much of a difference, so when I'm playing, I really don't notice the multi-scale aspect at all, and I'm thankful for that because I have played some other multi-scales in the past that have a much wider range, and doing chord shapes can be really weird. I can feel kind of out of place. So with this one being so minimal, it's actually really comfortable. This guitar has a 3-way pickup selector, and honestly, buying this guitar, I don't foresee myself ever using anything but the bridge pickup, but I've tested out the neck pickup, the middle position, and they sound like you would expect they sound, but for what I'm gonna be playing on this guitar, I'm basically just gonna be living in this bridge position with the tone all the way up. The tuners on this guitar are labeled as deluxe die-cast machine heads, and they are just your standard run-of-the-mill tuning machines. They work fine. I would love to swap them out for locking tuners at some point, but for right now, they're doing the job and they're doing it pretty well. All in all, I bought this guitar essentially to do one thing, and that is tune low. See, with my 7-string, I've been playing a lot of Spirit Box riffs and Sleep Token riffs, and if you know those bands, you know they tune pretty low in comparison to a lot of modern metalcore. With my 7-string guitar, I typically leave it in drop A sharp. That's where the majority of the songs I'm playing are in. Sometimes I'll drop it down to drop G, but when I'm drop tuning that guitar, I'll typically just do it digitally in my preset pack through Mixwave. That being said, when I'm trying to tune down to drop F sharp or drop E or drop D sharp, it sounds really bad on my 7-string. Once you're tuning down like 12 semitones, it's a lot, and it just sounds very artificial and not good at all. So instead of just taking my 7-string and cranking the octave pedal in my DAW all the way down every time I wanted to play a Spirit Box song or a Sleep Token song, I decided I was going to do one of the following: get a 30-inch 6-string baritone guitar or get an 8-string, and I chose 8-string. And the reason I chose the 8-string is honestly, I just think 8-strings look so sick. I follow people like Andrew Baina and other people that play 8-strings, and I've always wanted to try one. I've tried them out at Guitar Center, and I've enjoyed playing them and tuning low and just doing Thal-style chugs, and it is just a fun feeling having this massive neck, all these extra strings, and just feeling that feeling of hitting low notes. I'm sure I could get that same feeling playing a baritone because I've never played a 30-inch baritone, but there's something about the size and the novelty of an 8-string that I just really wanted to own one at least once in my life. And honestly, one of the reasons I went with this 8-string over any of the 6-string baritones I was seeing, A, this was cheaper than all those 6-string baritone options, and B, this finish is just so awesome. It's right up my alley. You know, green and purple are 2 of my favorite colors. So the fact that in certain lights this is green and then it switches to purple is really cool. And over the past 10 days that I've owned this, I've pretty much exclusively played this guitar because it is just so fun, so new, and I love the way it looks. So if you know anything about Harley Benton guitars, you know that they come from Thomann in Germany. I live in California, so that's very far from Germany. But on a weeknight, I believe it was either a Tuesday or Thursday, I placed my order at like 8 or 9 p.m. in California. And when I woke up, I had confirmation that the guitar had shipped. 24 hours later, I got confirmation that the guitar was at the airport in California. And that's where the first issue came up in shipping, but it really wasn't an issue. This guitar, when I ordered it, it made it to California and got held by customs for a total of 4 days, which means all in all shipping time, it took 1 week for the guitar to get from Germany to my doorstep. And honestly, in today's culture with Amazon and all the crazy shipping in the US, that seems like a long time, but in my mind, I believed it was gonna take 2 to 3 to 4 weeks to get to me. So I was actually extremely impressed with Thomann and their ability to get this shipped out. And as well, I had DHL ship it. And other than getting held up at customs for a few days, it was here extremely quickly. Now, when it arrived, there were a few dents and dings in the packaging, but that was the external packaging. The guitar itself came in great condition. There were no scratches on the finish. There were no issues with the tuners. The neck was straight. The setup is pretty good. The strings are definitely extremely light for an 8-string. So the first thing I'm going to be doing to this guitar is swapping out the strings for a thicker gauge, because these are just too light, a little flubby. But overall, the setup came great out of the box. The fret ends are good. They're not sharp, but they're not as smooth as my Ibanez 7-string. But for $215, I can't expect this to be perfectly smooth, rounded edges. But overall, it's great, and when I'm playing, I don't notice any of the fret ends. So while I'm really enjoying this guitar, it feels great, it's fun to play, there are a couple things that kind of bug me that I probably will get over as time goes on, but as someone new to this guitar, I wish they were slightly different. The first thing I don't love is the scarf joint on the back of the neck. The wood is not like matched at all, so you see 2 completely different wood grains kind of clash into each other, and also it kind of looks like there's a tiny little gap in the scarf joint, but the good thing is, rubbing my hand over it, I don't feel it at all, so it's truly a non-issue. It's just cosmetic. When I'm looking at the fretboard, I see the scarf joint. From my angle, they're 2 completely different colors of roasted maple, and that bothers me a little bit, but again, not actually an issue, just something to note. The second thing that kind of bothers me about this guitar is the 12th fret on this neck only has 1 dot on the front. On the side, it's got 2. So when you're playing and looking down, you can see the 2 dots up here, but I'm someone that plays leaning over my fretboard, looking at the fretboard, not the side. And a lot of times I position myself based off, the nut and the 12th fret to figure out where I am. And I've gotten lost plenty of times playing this over the past week and a half because I haven't realized I'm on the 12th fret because I don't see a second dot. Now, this is just me. It's not necessarily a guitar issue. It's just something I've got to adapt to, and it's probably exposing my poor technique. But they do have it on the side of the neck, so that is there. I just wish they put the second dot on the fretboard as well. And the third thing, which I'm just now realizing all the things I don't like are specifically tailored to the neck, is on the 5th fret. There is a knot in the wood, and that drives me crazy. Again, it's not really like a real issue, but when I'm looking down and playing, I see this black dot, and then I see that knot in the wood on the 5th fret, and my mind just gets lost for like a split second. Again, that's how wood is. There's going to be knots and different figuring in wood, which is really cool. But the fact that there's just 1 dark knot on the fretboard on that 5th fret, it kind of drives me crazy. So at the end of the day, those are all just like cosmetic things with the neck. Other than that, like the neck plays extremely well. I love the shape of it for my hands. I love how flat it is. It feels really smooth, very satin. And at the end of the day, it's just a great neck. There's just a few of those cosmetic things, but for $215 and less than $300 shipped from Europe to America, I really can't complain. And even though I don't love this scarf joint on the back of the neck, I do love the rest of the back of the neck. The figuring is really cool, and the color of this roasted maple is really nice, and I like it a lot. And it's also another not very important thing, but I love the shape of the headstock. So is it really practical to buy an 8-string guitar if you don't necessarily need one, if you can keep digitally drop tuning to the tunings you need? Honestly, no. I don't think like this was a necessary purchase, but I was at that place where I've had my guitars for a while and I was wanting something new and wanting to try something entirely new. And so the 8-string was calling, and once I saw this 8-string with this paint job, this finish, I knew it was one I would just want to have, even hanging on my wall if I ended up hating it. I think it just looked beautiful and I've really enjoyed playing it. So at the end of the day, I might end up modding this guitar in the future. I'm kind of leaving it as is right now because I really don't know how to swap out multi-scale pickups. I don't know if you need 8-string or 9-string pickups for it. Finding the right fit is going to be maybe challenging because these pickups are a tight fit to this guitar. They go right up to the edge of the cavity, but I'm sure at some point I will find the right pickup to swap it out for maybe something just a little bit cleaner, maybe more crisp, as well as swapping out these tuners for locking tuners. I think that's going to be step number 2 behind step number 1, which is getting rid of these very, very thin strings. And before I bought this guitar, I was actually looking at this exact guitar from Harley Benton, just in a 7-string variant. They have the exact same paint job, exact same finish, exact same neck. Everything is the same except it's a 7-string. And I almost went with that one, but I decided last minute, you know, I've never owned an 8-string and I think this would be a lot of fun to play on, and I've been right. It's been a lot of fun to play on. So as I make more videos in the future, as I keep learning how to tame this beast, I definitely want to do more videos on this guitar showcasing what it really can do, but it's just gonna take me time to really figure out the tones that this thing can make it sound good. Maybe I'll record an actual playthrough of a Sleep Token song or a Spirit Box song in the future, but all in all, I'm really happy with this purchase. It has been such a fun guitar to play. It looks so cool, and it's made me enjoy picking up guitar in the evenings after long work days, and I just love the sound of low-tuned guitars. But let me know what you think. Do you think buying an 8-string from Harley Benton is a good idea or a waste of money? Do you think anyone should ever have more than 6 strings? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.